Ladies and gentlemen, a warm good afternoon. It is indeed an honor and privilege to be here in Victoria Falls today. I am delighted to introduce to you the guest of honor at this occasion, to mark the official opening of the 10th ordinary session of the Pan-African Coastal Union Plenipotential Conference. Firstly, allow me on behalf of the government of the Republic of Zimbabwe to appreciate your presence in this majestic city of Victoria Falls, home to one of the 7 wonders of the world, the Victoria Falls, also known as the Mossel Luna, the smoke that thunders. Let me also express my utmost appreciation to the local organizers of this conference and the Pan-African Coastal Union leadership for ensuring that this conference becomes a reality. I am told that various committees of the Pan-African Coastal Union have been virtually since the 7th of June. As government, we are aware of the critical role of coastal services in information dissemination and economic development on the African continent and beyond. The Pan-African Coastal Union is a specialized institution of the African Union, whose main objective is to coordinate all activities aimed at developing continental coastal services. It is my fervent hope that the deliberations that have been held here were frank and cordial. Hence, the resolutions made here will go a long way in developing postal services as well as ensure that the industry adopts to the new normal considering the COVID-19 pandemic. It is unfortunate that this conference is being held at a critical time characterized by an environment of COVID-19 pandemic, which continues to threaten mankind. More than 3 million lives have been lost globally in a devastating trail which adversely impacted on livelihoods and, of course, service delivery. This, therefore, calls for us all to put our heads together and come up with lasting solutions and innovations so that the postal services continue to be relevant even after the pandemic. In the same vein, I urge you all to take heed of the guidelines on the containment of COVID-19 to curb further spread of the virus. In this regard, we should always mask up, sanitize, and maintain social distance. Ladies and gentlemen, the guest of honor, who is the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, is a man whose love for a just, peaceful, and prosperous society saw him sacrifice his youth to be part of the brave men and women who prosecuted the country's war of liberation. For the benefit of our guests from other countries, I wish to point out that at the prime of his tender age, our guest of honor, after his military training, as a career in Egypt and the People's Republic of China, carried out some very heroic acts as the war of liberation was being prosecuted. These included the bombing of a locomotive in then Fort Victoria, now Masvingo. He was arrested, went through some gruesome torture, tried, convicted, and sentenced to death. Fortunately for him, he was removed from the death row and his sentence was commuted to a jail term of 10 years with hard labor and isolation because he was underage. All this was made to discourage the youth from participating in the war of liberation. He was later released and forced to leave the country for Zambia, where the party asked him to complete his law degree, which he had started whilst he was in prison. Later, he moved to Mozambique in 1977 to join his colleagues in the Zimbabwe African National Union ZANU, and was appointed Special Assistant to the President as well as Head of National Security. After independence, our guest of honor was head of the Joint Command, which saw the integration of the three former warring armies, the Rhodesian Army, ZANLA, and ZIPRA, into the Zimbabwe National Army. Further, he served in various capacities, which included being Minister of State for National Security in the then Prime Minister's Office, Minister of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, Speaker of Parliament, and Minister of Defense, among other cabinet portfolios. Then became the President of the Republic in 2017. The President is passionate about bringing prosperity to Zimbabwe. At the commencement of his tenure, he was clear about his desire to see Zimbabwe transform into an empowered and prosperous upper middle income economy by 2030. He is at the forefront of our economic turnaround. It is therefore inspiring that Zimbabwe's economy is projected to grow substantially towards reclaiming its status as an economic powerhouse in the region. On the international front, the President is an ardent advocate for peace as a prelude to development. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, it is now my singular honor and privilege to